Welcome back everyone. हमारी यूपी पीजीटी इकोनॉमिक्स 2021 पेपर सीरीज में आपका फिर से स्वागत है। ये है पार्ट 8 जहां हम आगे के क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व करने वाले हैं। अगर आपने पिछले पार्ट्स मिस कर दिए हैं तो उन्हें जरूर देख लेना।
Alright, so let's jump right in, shall we? इस पार्ट में हम शुरू कर रहे हैं क्वेश्चन नंबर 71 से। So get your pen and paper ready and try to solve these along with me. चलिए शुरू करते हैं।
So our first section is going to cover two really important concepts. पहला है real wage, वास्तविक मजदूरी. And the second one is the potential surprise theory of profit. दोनों ही, I must say, are quite interesting.
Okay, so here's the first question, and it's all about real wage. The question is asking कि monetary wage के अलावा, the cash you get, what else is included in the real wage? आपके options हैं a free house, free medical treatment, free education for children, या फिर all of the above. So, what do you think? Lock in your answer.
And the correct answer is, of course, option D, all of the above. If you got that right, fantastic job. So, here's the key takeaway, right? The concept of real wage isn't just about the cash salary. It also includes all those non-monetary benefits an employee gets. We're talking about things like a company-provided house, free medical facilities, or even having your children's education covered. जब आप इन सब को मिलाते हैं, तभी आपको एक एम्प्लॉई की actual purchasing power का आइडिया होता है।
All right, let's move on to the next one. This is a term-based question. So the term potential surprise. Which economic theory is it connected to? Is it part of the rent theory, interest theory, wage theory, or the profit theory?
And the right answer here is D, profit theory. Yep, this term is all about the theory of profit, यानी लाभ का सिद्धांत.
The origin story of this term is actually pretty interesting. The potential surprise theory of profit was given by Professor G.L.S. Shackle. What he did was he basically expanded on Professor Knight's theory of uncertainty. Shackle's idea was that when entrepreneurs make decisions, they have certain expectations about future outcomes. Now, when the actual outcome is different from what was expected, well, that's your potential surprise, and that's what leads to either a profit or a loss.
Okay, let's move on to our next section. Here, we're going to talk about national income and the contribution of a very important economist. And right after that, we'll dive into the concept of cross-elasticity of demand. So, question 73 is about a well-known Indian economist. The question is, what is Dr. V.K.R.V. Rao associated with? Is it the Finance Commission, the 5-year plans, national income, or is it all of the above? And the correct answer is C, national income. Absolutely. Dr. Rao's most significant work was in the field of national income accounting. Now, this is a really important point to remember. Dr. Rao is credited with the first ever scientific calculation of national income in India. Sure, there were other attempts before him, but Dr. Rao's method was just so much more comprehensive because he used both the production method and the income method.
And this gives us some amazing historical context. For the years 1931-32, Dr. Rao estimated India's per capita national income. And guess what the figure was? Just 62 rupees. That number really highlights not just the importance of his work, but also the economic condition of the country at that time.
Okay, next question is on cross-elasticity of demand. So, if two goods are complementary, they're used together, like a car and petrol, what would their cross-elasticity of demand be? Would it be 0, infinity, positive, or negative?
The correct answer is D, negative.
That's right. For complementary goods, the cross-elasticity is always negative.
Let's break this down using this table. It makes it super clear. For complementary goods, there's an inverse relationship. Think about it. If the price of petrol goes up, the demand for cars will likely go down. That's why the elasticity is negative. On the other hand, for substitute goods, like tea and coffee, the elasticity is positive. And finally, for independent goods, things that have no relation to each other, the elasticity is just 0. This table is definitely one you want to remember.
And that brings us to the final section of this part. Here we're going to discuss two really fundamental concepts in economics, the problem of choice and quasi-rent. Both of these are, core economic principles.
So, question 75 gets to the very reason why economics even exists. Why does the problem of choice arise? Is it because our needs are urgent, or because resources are natural? Is it because resources have alternative uses, or is it because resources are owned by the government? What's the core reason?
Exactly. The correct answer is option C, resources have alternative uses. This idea, it's literally the foundation of economics.
So what exactly is the problem of choice? Well, it really comes down to three things. First, our wants are unlimited. Second, the resources to satisfy those wants are limited. And third, which is the key to this question, those limited resources have alternative uses. For example, on a piece of land, you could grow wheat or you could grow rice. You have to choose, and that, right there, is the problem of choice.
All right, here's the last question for this part. What is the formula for total quasi-rent? Is it total revenue minus total cost? Or TR minus total fixed cost? Or maybe TR minus total variable cost? Think carefully about this one. And the correct answer is C, total revenue minus total variable cost. This is a really important formula to keep in mind.
So let's break this down a bit. The concept of quasi-rent, or Abhaslagan, was developed by none other than Alfred Marshall, and it's strictly a short-term phenomenon. See, in the short run, once a firm covers its variable costs, any surplus revenue that's left over is called quasi-rent. But in the long run, all costs become variable, so quasi-rent, it just disappears. And that's exactly why the formula is total revenue minus total variable cost, or TR minus TVC.
And with that, we've wrapped up Part 8. We covered some really crucial concepts today, didn't we? We talked about real wage, the potential surprise theory, V.K.R. Rao's massive contribution to national income, cross-elasticity, the problem of choice, and of course, quasi-rent. So make sure you revise all of these properly. We'll be back really soon with Part 9. Until then, keep learning and keep preparing.